and welcome, Hoosier Nation, to the 63rd edition of the Hoosier Sound. I am your host, Matthew Lukens, and I am here with Sudin, right? Sudin, say hi.
Hey, how's it going? Just call me Sood. That's
Sud.
also good too.
All right,
Sood,
Sud.
whatever. It doesn't
All
matter.
right. So Sud works over at Indiana HQ. So Noah is sadly out this week because he's somewhere else doing other things. Anyways, but Sood was wonderful enough to offer his services, and he's here today, and we welcome him on the podcast. So we're going to start the podcast off how we start off every week here on the Hoosier Sound, and that is with my memorable monologue. And my memorable monologue has to be not about any of the sports going on or about UT Arlington making me want to eat my shirt in Longhorn last night. No, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how IU football welcomed Tyler Trent to the Indiana Purdue game on Saturday. I almost said tomorrow. I'm flying up tomorrow for the game on Saturday. But on Saturday, the IU football Purdue game, they gave Tyler Trent tickets. Tyler Trent will be there. If you don't know who Tyler Trent is, Tyler Trent is a student at Purdue. He has bone cancer. He's very sick. But he's a super fan for Purdue football, and all of Purdue sports really, but especially football. He's an honorary captain for the football team. So it's nice that he can come down from Indianapolis and go to the game. And then also IU football has a manager of their own that was battling with leukemia, and he's going to be an honorary captain tomorrow. I said it again. Saturday as well. So it's going to be really cool to see both those guys on the field pregame. And fair play, Tyler Strong. We're all rooting for you, Tyler. But yeah, that's my memorable monologue. It's just nice to see the love between the two schools before our heated rivalry game. Anyways, so moving on and passing over to Sood. All right, this Michigan IU football game. I mean, honestly, I don't think we expected to win this game, right? Like,
Of
there's
course,
no
yeah.
way. There's no
Yeah.
way we expected to go into the big house and upset the number 4 team in the country. But at a certain point, I was like, wait a second. I think we're giving them a really good game. And I think it was halfway through the second quarter, and it's like we were winning, or it was just I think we were losing by 3 at that point. And I went, oh my goodness! And then we were winning at halftime, and I was like, what is going on? Of course, we didn't end up pulling it out in the end. But your overall thoughts on the game?
So this game gave me like shades of the Ohio State game, the opener on
Yeah.
ESPN last year. When
Yep.
I was actually a senior still at IU, I went to that game. I have a nice black T-shirt with like IU football players walking into the stadium, just like lights bright. It's like really cool shirt.
Yep.
I love it. I wear it a lot. Unfortunately, yeah, shades of the OSU game, shades of IU football in general.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. They're
Yeah,
they're
just
back on their normal schedule.
you know, you watch the game because at least they put up a fight. And I just saw this tweet. One of my friends or former friends from high school, he's a huge Michigan fan. And he like retweeted this tweet about how IU is the best 5-7 football team in the country. And I was just so mad when I saw that. But at the same time, I was like, you know what? Like, hey, we are. That's right, we are. And but you can't expect this team obviously to win such a tough game on the road. But at the same time, one of these really close games against a ranked opponent, right? When is that going to happen? When is it going to happen? When are we going to finally just pull away and just win that game? I don't know. It's
Yeah.
At least
Yep.
they're close, but
Someday it's going to happen. Someday it will not
yeah,
be while I am at school, but
yeah.
someday it will happen. So anyways, moving on, continuing with our IU football talk. So I hope you said your friend retweeted something about we're going to be the best 5-7 football team in the country. I hope we're not 5-7 because I hope we beat Purdue. And so let's
Oh
talk
yeah,
about
for
Purdue
sure.
next week.
Yeah.
this weekend. So Purdue Boilermakers coming into town. They're also 5-6. So we're both 5-6. Winner goes to a bowl game, like it has been the last 2 years. So looking like this year, Purdue has definitely gotten better. Even though, and that's strange to say as a team who beat us last year and then also went and beat Arizona in their bowl game, and a very good Arizona team last year as well. Went and go and beat Khalil Tate in Arizona last year, and they got better. Freshman Rondale Moore. If you don't know who he is, you're going to after Saturday. I am sure he is their number one playmaker. He does everything on special teams. He does everything. He's basically their biggest weapon on offense. So you're going to see him flying all over the field. David Blau, their quarterback, is a very decent quarterback. Reminds me a lot of Nate Sudfeld when he was here at IU. So a little bit of an IU reference there. They have a very mediocre defense. A couple good linebackers, but pretty mediocre overall. And they have a decent running game. They're very much a offensive team, and you definitely saw that when they beat Ohio State in prime time this year. You know, if any Purdue fan would like to brag about it for us. But anyways, all right, Sood, your thoughts on can we beat Purdue?
Well, I mean, yeah, because we're not ranked. So
yeah,
right.
Purdue has troubles against non-ranked opponents.
Yeah, so I don't understand. I mean, I guess if you want to just look at it in a superstitious manner or like a non-scientific way whatsoever, yeah, we're not ranked. We have a chance. But I mean, IU has a chance versus any team this year. I feel like the way we play, it's always close. It's always close. Do we pull through? We pulled through versus Maryland. We pulled through versus Rutgers, which I know it's Rutgers, but I mean, we still pull through. The games you win, you pull through at the end, you win. And there's definitely a chance against Purdue. I mean, look, Purdue's offense is so exciting, but the focal point is Rondale Moore. He's their guy. I mean, they did run the ball well last week. So I'm pretty sure they'll try to run at first, but I think IU has a better time against the run than the pass. So I think they'll be ready for the running game. But again, stopping Rondale Moore is definitely the main focus, and that passing offense. Look, I mean, the way IU played against Michigan, whose defense is like far and away like one of the best in the country. I mean, that defense is so phenomenal, and to be able to put up, so many points. Even I mean, obviously after the first half, we kind of fell flat, but the potential is there. The play calling. I mean, there was that play against Michigan. It was like 4th and 3, and the interception Ramsey threw. I mean,
right.
Send those guys down the field. I mean, look at Donovan Hale. Like looking at him, Freifogel.
Yep.
Who else? Like Watt Fillier. I don't know if he's in or not this against Purdue. But I mean, the guys we have, IU's receiving core is so fantastic. They can run down the field and make plays. Nick Westbrook had a really, he makes great catches. I mean, play calling is you got to send him more down the field, even if it's short yardage situations. Also, Stevie Scott. I always like to say he's like our kind of our Leonard Fournette. Except he's obviously
he's not Leonard Fournette.
He's not Leonard Fournette. And he can be fast in the open field. Maybe if the play calling gets a little bit better, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, we can totally beat Purdue. We definitely have a chance. But Purdue's offense is dangerous, and if Purdue wins, it's going to be through their guy Rondale Moore. Them being able to use him in their special play calling methods as well. So I think overall we have a chance. I think IU can make a bowl game for sure. And
for sure.
Yeah.
You're guaranteeing a victory this week.
No, I'm not guaranteeing a victory.
Oh, okay.
But I'm for sure guaranteeing that there is a chance, which makes sense, I guess. Right.
So,
yeah.
I'll sum up what you said. Basically, you said more aggressive play calling on offense.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
focus on Purdue's running game. And stop the running game because, I mean, they're going to pass the ball. But but definitely they're going to try to run it right out of the gate, right?
Yeah, so if we keep up with Purdue, I think they might like slowly start to abandon the run when they realize, oh, Rondale Moore's catching the ball. Every time he catches the ball, he gets like 15 to 20 yards. So maybe we should
Yeah.
just keep passing. So eventually, you keep it close, and then they'll realize, let's just abandon the run and let's keep going to Rondale Moore. Those are kind of like the psychological games that you play in these football games.
Right.
But yeah, definitely a chance. I think more so, I think IU can stop the run normally, but I think the main thing is you have to focus on Moore. He's their big time guy. And for the season's on the line, you go to your best players. So
Right.
Purdue's best player, Rondale Moore. So yeah.
Right. So yeah, for IU, I definitely want to see more aggressive play calling. Definitely look for us to like try to establish the run early, try to get Stevie Scott going. Just because he opens up the rest of our offense. But if that doesn't work out, it's going to become very pass heavy very fast. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about the implications of this game. Of course, we win this, we go to a bowl game. But I think even more so for the program, if we win this, everybody's been talking about Jeff Brom this, Jeff Brom that, how much Purdue is better than us. If we are to squeak out this game, beat a Maryland team, go from beating a Maryland team who at the time you're like, oh my God, we just only beat Maryland by, 3 points. And then you go on see what they did against Ohio State last week and go, oh, we beat that Maryland team by 3 points. Like that,
Yeah,
that loss,
Maryland's no joke.
yeah,
Yeah.
that loss or that win looks a lot better now, thanks to extremely close loss to Ohio State.
Yeah.
So if we were to win this Purdue game, go to a bowl game, I think the momentum for the program would be great. And then getting rid of Mike DeBoer at the end of the year would be fantastic. Anyways, we're leaving IU football and we're moving on to IU basketball. So this has been quite the eventful week in IU basketball. Since we last saw you, we played Marquette, we played Arkansas, and we played UT Arlington. And all three of those games were a roller coaster of emotion. So let's start with the Marquette game, Sue. All right. So how excited were you for that game? 1, 2, how wonderful was it for us to just basically ride out the whole game and not have any pressure against a ranked team at home?
So, I mean, like, this is great, first of all. I mean, the game against Marquette just basically shows IU is a team that continues to dominate at home in a way. Like, that's what IU's biggest strength is. Road games are always tough. These are young kids playing basketball. It's always going to be hard to win on the road. But when you're at home, like, you make a statement. And unfortunately, last year we couldn't really do that against Duke. I mean, we kind of did, though. I mean, it was close.
It was a
I
close
was
game.
there.
It was a very
it was
close
awesome.
game. You were
it
there?
was awesome.
You were there?
Yeah, I was there, but I was in the nosebleeds, just like going crazy. Oh my gosh, like Deron Davis, like giving Bagley problems. I was like, is there a chance? Are you serious?
Yeah.
They're actually away? I mean, of course not in the end. But I mean, this year is different. But going to Marquette specifically, home game against a ranked opponent, IU showed that they had the potential to be dominant at home in the Big Ten. And that's critical because Big Ten play is obviously the most important. And the way that IU dominated at home versus Marquette was awesome. So quick thought, I mean, great job. Great job by Archie, great job by Romeo, great job by everyone. They just were hitting on all cylinders. It was great.
Yeah, definitely. Go check out my post-game recap that I wrote. Yes, I can write, and I know the English language.
Yeah.
Speaking of Marquette, hold up, I have to scroll through all the people who are playing right now. Marquette is currently beating Kansas by 3 points. So, and this is at 8:46 on Wednesday. So I just want to let you know, if they end up losing, don't at me, but Marquette is beating Kansas, so IU beat Kansas through the transitive property. Anyways,
yeah, of course.
Yeah. Last thoughts on the Marquette game, and then we'll move on to Arkansas. I thought we played great. I thought Al Durham was the best game that Al Durham's ever played in an IU uniform. And that's saying a lot because he was probably our best player through 4 games last year. He's a much improved 3-point shooter. And I hope he gets back from injury soon. We'll talk about that in a minute. And also Rob Finney, excellent point guard play. Romeo Langford's a stud. And Juwan Morgan's our senior leader and obviously our best player. All right, moving on to Arkansas. So we go from the high of the Marquette game to us losing on the road by 1 point to Arkansas on a missed tip and then foul call with 2 seconds left. How salty were you about that foul call? Because I was like sea salt. You just take all the sea, you like vaporize all the water and all the salt that's left. That was me. Like right after we lost, I was yelling at the TV the whole time.
So yeah, obviously you'd like to win as many games as possible, but it's a road
Right.
test. It's a road test,
Right.
and you have young guys, and overall the loss, I'm not mad about it. I'm mad about more so that we could have won. And the reason why I say that is because winning on the road against a non-conference opponent, I mean, the expectations obviously for this team are much higher than last year. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, losing to Arkansas on the road, you see what they have. Like they
Yeah.
have a superstar player. They have an interesting style defensively. That gave us problems too. And I think this is one of those situations where yes, we could have won that game, but it's also a good loss in a way. It teaches, Rob Finney. It teaches Al Durham. We were making so many mistakes against that press defense, and Dempsey Anderson was making some mistakes. I mean, it teaches the young guys, hey, like there's going to be games like this. Well, especially Romeo too. I mean, there's
Yeah.
going to be games where it's just like you're hitting a brick wall, and it's like, how do I break through finally? How do I break through and just win this game? Sometimes you're just not going to win, and this really helps, I think, in the long run in terms of looking at Big Ten play. I think that, yeah, but the loss, yeah, major salt everywhere,
Yeah.
big time.
Yes. Major salt everywhere. Major
Major
salt.
salt.
Yeah. Well, like just to elaborate more on your point. Yeah, this is definitely going to help come Big Ten play. I'd rather get this loss now than in Big Ten play. I'd rather have a Big Ten championship and have one less non-conference win. It's especially going to help against teams like Illinois and Ohio State, who like to press you and play really good man-to-man defense. So come to when we play those games, and it looks like Ohio State's really good, which is surprising to me because in my Big Ten preview, I put them like 12th, and now I look like
Wow.
now I look like an idiot. I'm sorry, everybody. I doubted Chris Holtman. I forgot that he's a really good coach. Anyways, Ohio State's good, but how did I get from Ohio State to from Arkansas? So back to the Arkansas game. Arkansas played really well. And thank God we don't have to play Daniel Gafford for the rest of the year. Thank God, because he was the perfect storm of what destroys Archie's defense, which is a 7-foot center that can step out and make 20-footers. And then he's also super athletic, and the team was not ready to double yet. And Archie said before the game that it was going to get our players in foul trouble. And then what happened? We had to double, and we got players in foul trouble. So Archie was right. And Gafford literally could not miss. And shout outs to Arkansas. They played really well. I'd say Joe. Yeah, they did. They played big time. Their freshman point guard is a really good player. He's gonna be a really good player for them for a while. But yeah, this is going to end up looking like a very good loss because Arkansas every year has no expectations, and then they end up beating 3 or 4 people over the year at home because Bud Walton Arena is just, I don't know, the place is like voodooed in the right type of voodoo.
It's cool.
Cool. Yeah, it's cool. They just beat teams. They somehow like give Kentucky a scare every year there. But yeah, that's the Arkansas game. Tough game to lose. Duran was getting some slack on Instagram and Twitter and everywhere, and people were saying that he should cut his scholarship. Which no,
please no. We need that depth.
Good.
I mean, that's what makes this IU team. I think this is what will make this IU team great at the end of the season. We'll all see it. That's my prediction. Also, I wrote a recap on this game. I can write too.
Go check it out.
I wrote the recap on the Arkansas game, and Yeah, I mean, like Duran, yeah. Sometimes it happens. You make mistakes, you miss open shots. But this guy, I mean, he still is so important in terms of the depth of the big man position on this IU team defensively and even offensively, and intangibles like rebounding, scrapping for loose balls, like everything this guy is a hard worker. And the fact that I saw him play, I mean, I can just look at the Duke game last year. Ever since that game
Yeah.
last year against Duke, the way
Yep.
he played, the way he slowed down the game against Marvin Bagley, like that game, I don't care. I don't care even if what happened against Arkansas was really bad. This guy is a guy that, I mean, he's fantastic. I think he's really important for the depth of his team for sure.
Yep. Wow, our transitions are on point tonight because guess who we were missing for the UT Arlington game, and what the biggest point about the UT Arlington game was, which is, wow, this team has a lot of depth. And then here comes last night's game when we had 7 people who could play, and 6 at one point, by the way. But anyways, so moving on to UT Arlington, thoughts. What are your thoughts on the game?
Oh man, I mean, we won, right? We won.
Yeah, we did win, yes.
I mean, that's first of all, that's the main thing. Like, we won the game. All right.
Yeah,
Now, funny thing is, now the committee's going to look at this game and say, "Oh, they won by double digits. Okay, no big deal. Move on." Right? They didn't actually probably watch this game, right?
right,
When they
right.
determine the top 25, right? You don't see, they probably don't watch every game. They look at the score line. They say, "Oh, they won by 12. All right, let's move on." But obviously, we watched the game as well. Actually, the funny thing is, I watched it and then I stopped, watched Duke versus Auburn, and I was like, "Wait, what happened?" And then I went back, and I was
What's
like,
happening?
"Oh my god!" I was sweating so much. I was just, but hey, this happens. This happens, and who did Ohio State play yesterday? It was close for them too.
Oh,
Um,
man, they played starts with a D, and I can't remember the name of the school. But yeah, very small school. Yeah,
yeah,
and they were tied at halftime. Actually, I think they were losing at halftime to the school. Yeah, or tied, something like
Sam,
that.
uh,
Stan
Sanford. Yeah,
Stanford.
yeah. So it was close,
Didn't
right?
even
So you're
start
gonna
with a
always
D.
have these games where it's gonna be close. I mean, you pull through, and guess what? Archie realized with like about 5 minutes left, you go to Jawan. I mean,
Right.
the tallest guy on UT Arlington was like 6'5", right? Jawan is 6'8". He's huge. He draws fouls. He's a leader. He's, like you said earlier, he's our best player.
Yep.
Not by far, but I think like in terms of leadership and like game awareness, definitely I think
Yep.
he's our best player. Um, yeah, go to him. We did, and he dominated, and we won. There you go. And then Demacy Anderson hit that awesome three.
Yeah,
That was cool.
Demezy was clutch last
Yeah,
night.
see, so he learned from the Arkansas game. You make
He did.
mistakes, and you come out. You were confident. You take the three. I mean, we shot poorly from three that game, but then I'm pretty sure Archie still told the guys, "Hey,
Just
like,
keep shooting.
yeah,
Yeah.
just shoot." And
Yeah.
we ended up 2 of 12, two
It
of
was
12 from
fun.
three.
Oh,
Oh my god! But hey, you know what? A W is a W.
yep. It's in
But now
it's
we
in
have,
the win column regardless.
yeah,
But my thoughts is that game is a game we would have lost last year. That game is 100% what happened to us against Indiana State. The team that comes in, we're beating them in the first half, and then all of a sudden they switch baskets, and the basket becomes the size of a football field, and they just are hitting shots that they can't even hit in practice. Um, and that's what it seemed like for Arkansas, jeez. UT Arlington last night. They were just raining in threes, contested threes, fall away like 5 feet behind the 3-point line threes, and you're like, what is this? Why now? Don't do this to us. But then another story from the game is we were missing 6 people by the end of the night last night. We were
yeah,
missing Zach McRoberts. We were missing Race Thompson. We were missing Devontae Green, who they were all still out. Of course, we're missing Jerome Hunter, who's out with the leg injury. And then apparently, speaking of Duran again, Duran was having Achilles soreness, and so Duran didn't play either. So we're down to what 7 people that can play, and then on the first play of the game, Al Durham lands on his back, and then we're without Al Durham, so that's 6 people. And then with 4 minutes left, Romeo gets hit in the nose, and I think he broke his nose, or at least he got a really bad bloody nose, and it's gonna be bruised for a while, but hurts his nose, and then he's out, so we have, like, 5 players to play with by the end of the game. It's 5 or 6, and so only 7 people played in the entire game, um, and depth was definitely an issue. It was weird to me not to see Clifton Moore and not to see Jake Forrester because, of course, those are 2 guys that we've talked about in the show before because we were looking forward to seeing them this year, looking forward to seeing them play. And you would think with the depth issues we were having during this game that maybe they'd get the run out. They didn't. Maybe Archie doesn't trust him on defense, or maybe Archie didn't trust it for the matchup because, UT Arlington was a smaller team, and putting in a 6'9" Forrester or a 6'10" Clifton Moore against a team that's tallest player was 6'9", is not going to be viable, and their smaller guys are going to get past us and penetrate, and then that's going to lead to open shots. I guess that would make sense, but if they were going to get any minutes, that was going to be the time that they're going to get minutes. So I assume that those are the 2 of the guys that aren't going to get any minutes this year, and then Jerome Hunter's probably not going to get any minutes either, just because he's got some undisclosed leg injury. So speaking of depth and injuries, next week we have a game on Tuesday. It's on Tuesday, right? Or is it on Wednesday? It's on Tuesday, right?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that.
Oh my goodness, we are underprepared. I am so sorry. So
it's Friday. It's Friday versus UC Davis.
We have the UC Davis game, yes, but we should beat them. The Duke game is on Tuesday, so I'm not worried about this UC Davis game. What to look out for UC Davis? I'll just quickly go over it real fast. They have a decent system. They're usually like an NCAA tournament team. They're usually one of the 14, 15, 16 seeds. Not 16 seed, but usually a 14 or 15 seed in the tournament. They regularly run their conference. They have a decent center that we need to look out for. He's a 7-footer, but he's not a super athletic 7-footer, so he's no Daniel Gafford. And thank God he's not. I don't want to play anybody like him for the rest of the year. And I don't think there's anybody in college basketball that's even similar to him. Maybe Bol, but Bol's just an anomaly. But anyway, UC Davis, it should be a comfortable game, even with the injuries that we have. Hopefully Romeo's back. Looks like Zach McRoberts and Devontae Green should start practicing this week. Does that mean they'll play in the game? I assume they'll play maybe a couple minutes, but or I hope they'll play at least a couple minutes, but I don't assume they'll be starting or anything. But look for Rob Finney to get some really good basket. Look for Juwan to get some really good practice on a 7-footer, especially getting into Big Ten play. It seems like every team has a 7-footer that we should be looking out for. All right, moving on to the team that lost today, Duke. Duke is not going undefeated, and Duke is not going to beat the Cavaliers. So, do you think we have any shot against the Duke Blue Devils in Durham next Tuesday?
Absolutely. To win, yeah, of course. But that also is contingent on the health of the remaining roster of IU. A 7-man roster will yield a blowout. Even with Romeo, if it's a 7-man roster, I don't think there's a chance. But I think if we have McRoberts back, I think he's like one of those guys that not many people talk about, especially last year. With like Jaren Jackson Jr. getting all the defensive highlights last year. He was very good on defense last year, Zach McRoberts. He would get a couple steals that were huge in certain victories in the Big Ten conference play. But yeah, he's a guy that you can put on maybe Zion or RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish, those 3 guys. It's going to be tough. I mean, I don't know how we'll match up, but if we get him back, I think it'll help a lot in terms of matching up against these guys. The only way to win regarding that specific concept winning, which is very hard to do against this talented Duke squad.
Right.
You got to get Zion in foul trouble. I think that's the main thing that most people are talking about. He is a mammoth on the boards, like intangibles. He has defensive skills. He has the ability to make big plays that gather momentum, that makes Cameron go wild. These kinds of things,
Right.
you want to prevent that from happening. So by preventing that, you give the ball to Jawan early, get him in the post. Even if you're down 8 to 10 points, if you get 2 fouls on Zion, that simplifies the game so much, because now the game inside as well as outside opens up, and that's, I think, how you'll eventually win games. How to deal with Trey Jones, that's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Kind of
He's
reminding
a
me of
very
how,
good point guard. We're
yeah,
gonna get
he's
two
very
very good
good.
freshman point guards play.
Yeah.
Rob Finney versus Trey Jones.
Yeah, Trey Jones is fantastic. I think he kind of gets shadowed a bit with the, because Zion, RJ, and Cam Reddish are in the limelight. But no, Trey Jones is fantastic. And his handles are phenomenal. But to beat Duke, get Zion in foul trouble. Simplify the game. It opens up the game a lot more. And Romeo, of course, he has to have that game where it's like 20 something points, like 5 to 7 assists, maybe like 5 to 7 rebounds. It's got to be some kind of game like that, or else I don't envision IU winning. Free throw line, can't make mistakes there too
Right.
much. We're getting better there, though. That's a good thing, especially Romeo. He's getting better at the line. Shooting
We're
threes,
getting
you can't.
we're getting slightly better
Yeah.
at the free throw line. We're not hitting 70% yet, but once we get there, it'll be fine. But
Yeah.
no.
Free throw line, yeah, getting better at that. Hopefully, it gets even better versus Duke. That'd be great timing. But UC Davis, can't forget about them though. It's a trap game. Win versus UC
It is
Davis.
a trap game.
But yeah,
I will not lie. It is a trap game, but I feel like we should win. We should win. We should
we
win.
should win. We
Anyway,
should win.
we should win. I'll touch on the Duke game real fast. Getting their stars in foul trouble is probably key. Romeo's got to bring his A game. He's got to be able to shoot the ball. He's going to have to make a couple threes. We're going to have to get some people back from injury. That's just going to have to happen. Hopefully, Duran can play. We're going to need a presence down low, especially against Marquise Bolden. But Duke's bench is not very deep. I thought we were going to have depth against them, but this team is apparently cursed. So, will we ever have depth again? Who knows? But do you think? All right, prediction for the score. I'm going to put you on a spot here, Sue. So, prediction for the score: Duke, IU, next Tuesday. What's the score? Who wins?
So I think I originally had Duke by like 5 points, but now I think it's going to be like 92 to 80.
Duke. Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you. I think it's a little bit lower scoring than that. I think it's going to be like 86-74 Duke, if I had to put money on it. But, Romeo brings his A game. Maybe Duke, loses and they lose some of their mojo. And, things can happen. Still watch the game, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
So we got some questions coming in to Hoosier Sound for tonight's show. So Ben asks, if only one men's basketball player who is currently injured would come back in time for the Duke game, which one should it be? So, Sue, which IU basketball player needs to come back that's currently injured, needs to come back from injury for the Duke game to help us and give us a shot?
I mean, does Romeo count?
I don't think Romeo counts. I think Romeo's back until somebody tells me that he's out. So, of the 6 guys that were out last night,
Zach McRoberts. I really think he's such an underrated, underlooked defender. And I keep saying the word intangibles because
he does. Yes.
It's such an underrated aspect of the game. It doesn't really show up on the stat sheet. Diving for loose balls, getting that jump ball, possession arrow, kind of those kind of plays. Zach McRoberts is the guy that does that. And I think his presence on defense and even rebounding, blocking shots, just another body to put on one of those 3 Duke forwards, yeah, I think it's him big time. But ideally, we get Devontae Green back too, because he's a veteran, kind of. He's a college vet. He can handle the ball and he can shoot too. But Zach Roberts, his defense is just amazing, and he can shoot the 3 too sometimes. So maybe he'll be open and he can hit a couple of those.
Should be the banner above his head. Zach McRoberts sometimes shoots threes.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so Nithin asks bucket game MVP. All right, I'll give you my bucket game MVP for both teams, depending on who wins. So for Purdue, it's going to be Rondell Moore if they win.
Yeah.
And if it's IU, it's going to be our kicker, because we're going to win this game in a very close game if we win, and he's going to have to kick some big kicks. So I'm going to give it to our kicker. That's our MVP. I bet you didn't expect that. GR Hoosier 1 says, is anybody on the team dealing with injuries? Ha, you're funny. I see you. And then David Joaquim asks, how can we get the old jerseys back? And to this I say, I like the new jerseys a little bit, but I like the old jerseys a lot more. So I agree with you. I wish you went back. Thoughts, Sue?
Jersey wise, unfortunately, I'm not a huge. I don't really care. I don't know why I don't care. I don't know why, but like for college, I know some people do care, and I think it does matter big time. For me though, I feel like IU football, like not being in the limelight as much, really kind of just the jersey color doesn't really get as noticed as much. But
right.
I'm all for anything as long as it properly follows color coding guidelines. Honestly, I don't really have thoughts on jersey colors.
Jerseys in general, yeah.
Yeah,
for
but like
all jerseys, they're fine to me. I don't care about the change. So
what? Yeah, big time.
They're missing the candy stripe thing. Whatever, it's fine. So that's gonna do it for us here on the Hoosier Sound. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Sue, for coming on.
It was, no problem. By the way, it's a sued with a D at the end. But hey, it's okay.
Sue, I kept saying, you know what? I'm done.
Sue the dinosaur. I'm from near Chicago, so like they have a dinosaur named Sue.
You know what? There we go. Sue. Damn.
It's okay. It doesn't matter. I had a great time.
You see, we need Noah back. We need the host. And we need the host. I'm not a host.
You're terrible, dude. No, it was great. I had fun talking about jersey colors and Duke potentially beating them, getting Zion in foul trouble, talking about the heart attack that we both almost suffered and many IU fans almost suffered versus UT Arlington. Yeah, it was a great time. Great time.
All right. Well, we're going to catch you next week. Oh, wait. Special announcement. Next week, next Wednesday will be the show. But on us, joining Noah and I next week is the one and only Freddie McSwain. Freddie McSwain will be on our podcast next week. So look out for Freddie. He's going to be talking about the Duke game, I am sure, giving us really good insight for a person who's actually played for IU against Duke. Within 365 days. Yeah. So that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you next week, next Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. And yeah.
Wait, one more thing.
We got
Freddie McFly's dunk against Duke last year. When I saw that, oh my goodness. That was
exploded when he.
I think the roof almost came off the building. So you'll definitely get to talk about that for sure.
Don't joke about that, because that could actually happen. Assembly Hall, things might actually fall down. Anyways.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but I had to bring that up.
Anyways, that's gonna do it for us. We'll catch you guys later. See you next week, 8:30 p.m. Don't miss it. It's been the Hoosier Sound. Matt Lucan signing off. See ya.